Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video we're going to be giving our first run review of the new Nike Pegasus Plus. This is the return of a classic design from Nike, the Pegasus Turbo, a very popular shoe. Before I dive into the details, I want to say thank you to Sports Shoes for sorting me out a review sample of the shoe, which I was finding hard to get hold of. We're not affiliated with Sports Shoes at all, and this will be our normal unbiased review, but I want to say thank you to them for getting the shoe out to us so we could test it and review it. So Nike Pegasus Plus is the return of the Nike Pegasus Turbo. It even says Pegasus Turbo on the outsole rubber there, even though it has a different name. Pegasus Turbo was one of the first shoes to bring race day foams and materials into a daily trainer. It had Nike's ZoomX foam in the midsole along with Nike's React foam. Great shoe, got discontinued for unknown reasons really, and Nike didn't bring it back until they kind of did with the Nike Pegasus Turbo Nature, which used some recycled ZoomX. I think that was last year. But the new Pegasus Plus really is a more accurate reincarnation of the shoe, which will be music to a lot of people's ears. And I was very excited to try it out to see how it compares to the raft of super trainers that have been released since then that have really taken that Pegasus Turbo blueprint and run with it, adding plates, super foams, all kinds of things to daily trainers. It's a pretty expensive shoe. It comes in at £165 or $180. It weighs in at 257 grams or 9 ounces in a UK 9, and it has a 10mm drop from heel to toe. So you've got a lot of classic Nike materials in the design of the shoe here, and it's actually a pretty simple design. You have a fly knit upper with quite a lot of padding at the heel and quite a strong and substantial internal heel counter there. Not too much padding on the tongue, and all versions of the shoe so far have that classic Pegasus Turbo stripe down the front of the upper there. The midsole is entirely made of Nike ZoomX foam. So with the original Peg Turbo, it was ZoomX over a layer of React, the idea being to create that dual density effect, a bit more stability and durability with the bottom layer, the bouncy ZoomX on top. This version of ZoomX I think is a little bit different to what we've seen in some other shoes. It doesn't feel quite as soft and springy to me as the foam used on the race day shoes, but it still is full ZoomX. It's not the recycled version of the foam that we had with the Pegasus Turbo Next Nature, a shoe I did quite like but was not very popular all round, it's fair to say. Then you've got an outsole with rubber on the forefoot and heel of the shoe, a bit of exposed foam in the middle, but it's a pretty decent layer of outsole rubber there considering the shoe is still quite light and it should be good for its durability. When it comes to the fit of the Pegasus Plus, I have my normal UK size 9, which is a US size 10 for Nike. This is a size I've used across the Nike range for many years, and it is the right size for me. It fits me well in my normal size. Got a good amount of room in the toe box. It's not too narrow or anything like that. It held my foot nice and securely on the run today. No rubbing or hot spots. So all round, I would stick to your normal size with the Nike Pegasus Plus. Good morning from London. I am about to head out and do my first run in the new Nike Pegasus Plus. An exciting shoe for me, this one, having loved the original Pegasus Turbo. Obviously a lot has happened in the shoe world since then. A lot of shoes like this nowadays, whereas the first one was a bit of a trailblazer, but still looking forward to giving it a first run today. Going to do an hour, easy to steady, so I'll start off pretty relaxed, kind of around 4:30, 4:45 a K pace usually, then move down through the gears to somewhere around kind of 3:40, 3:45 a K pace, depending on effort and how I feel. It's a nice sunny day today, so looking forward to getting out there. All done now, ran just over 15k in the hour there. Felt really good today, just so probably steady pace was a bit quicker than usual at the end there, moving down to around kind of 3:35 a K pace or so. Shoes were certainly part of that. I really enjoyed them today, probably more than I was expecting. You know, I was excited to test these shoes, but I did think, you know, testing out some amazing super trainers of late and doing these kind of run with these shoes, things like the New Balance Balos, which I really liked for a similar run, Hoka Mach X2, which I love for this kind of progression run, and just wondered if the Pegasus Plus / Pegasus Turbo was still going to have the chops to compete with those shoes, and I think it does. It really does. Like, it's not got the most dramatic ride. Like, you don't really sink and squish into this ZoomX foam like you do with some ZoomX shoes. It definitely feels like a different version of this foam than you get in like the Streak Fly or the Vaporfly, that kind of thing, but has a lot of response, really bounces back well, was comfortable throughout the run today. And, you know, really felt good. Like, it's got quite a traditional ride, it's not very rockered, and that was another thing I worried about. Like, I'm quite used to and really enjoy rockered shoes now, in particular for this kind of run with more foam under the forefoot. It does feel a bit thinner there for sure than other shoes, but it was still comfortable enough for me today. No discomfort under the forefoot. That'll be something I look out for, because I don't really mind the 10mm drop. Like, that works fine for me. I like a 10mm drop, but generally a 10mm drop means that you have a lower forefoot than lots of shoes out there these days, and it doesn't feel like this is a really maxed out stacked shoe. So assume the forefoot is a fair bit under 30 millimeters, and sometimes that can feel a bit thin at times compared to shoes that have a bit more there, like the Balos and yeah, like the Mach X2 and loads of other shoes in this category, the Super Blast even, I guess. So all around, very positive first run. It feels like a good solid daily trainer. Will have a nice bit of range. See if it's going to have any chops for really fast stuff, but it felt comfortable for easy stuff. It's got a quite traditional design, a daily trainer design, so I don't think there'll be any problem with just cruising around in this for a lot of mileage, and it does feel like it has a bit of spark there and bounce well when I was running at faster paces. So yeah, very enjoyable first run in the Pegasus Plus. So early verdict on the Pegasus Plus is a positive one. I was excited for the shoe, then a bit apprehensive because I was thinking about all the shoes that have come out since the Pegasus Turbo and whether the Pegasus Plus could really live up to those standards. And now I'm pretty excited about the shoe again because I do think it is a very good running shoe. I really enjoyed it on that run today. It delivered like I expect a high performance daily trainer too. I was running well out there. I felt like the shoe was giving me enough comfort and support as a daily trainer while also having a nice lightweight and responsive ride when I was moving towards those faster paces. It was also just fun to run in. I'm interested to see how the foam develops over time, whether it gets a bit more softer and springier, more like the feeling of the ZoomX and some of Nike's other shoes, or if it stays a bit more resilient like this, which should be good for durability, but maybe if you are stepping into the shoe expecting the very soft squishy feeling of the ZoomX in stuff like the Vaporfly, Streetfly, even the Invincible early versions, it's not quite like that. It is a bit firmer like I say, but that does give you a nice bouncy ride and it is still comfortable. Big difference I think to a lot of other shoes in this category is the 10mm drop, and it's not so much the drop itself, it's just the fact that that doesn't give it a lot of foam under the forefoot of the shoe. And lots of other shoes in this category have higher forefoot stacks, rockers, stuff like that. And I've kind of got used to that myself, and I do enjoy that feeling. Sometimes I get a bit of discomfort under the forefoot as a heel striker snapping through with shoes with this kind of design. But, it's nice to have a slightly different option on the market out there. If you don't like those very rockered shoes or low drop shoes, then you have got a more traditional ride here with the Pegasus Plus while having a nice bouncy, super foam in the midsole. The price puts it right into the mix against all these shoes though, and it is a very competitive area, unlike when the Pegasus Turbo originally came out. Like just in recent weeks, like I say, I've been testing out some really amazing shoes like the Mach X2. Really enjoyed my first run in the New Balance Balos. Asics Super Blast isn't that much more expensive. There's even shoes from kind of small brands coming out here, things like the Mount to Coast R1 that have Peba foams in the midsole at a lower price. So that is going to be a lot of competition for the Pegasus Plus. It doesn't have a plate in the midsole. I'm not sure it feels quite as sprightly and fast as some of those shoes like the Mach X2. It does hit the mark as a premium daily trainer. It's just whether it can live up to its price, especially when there are lots of really, really good plateless trainers out there now that are coming in a lot cheaper. It's the Hoka Max 6, New Balance Rebel V4, there's even the Adidas Adizero SL2, not a shoe I've tested, but one that Tom is a fan of, and I think lots of you are fans of based on the comments, and that's obviously a lot cheaper than this shoe as well. I did very much enjoy the Pegasus Plus on that first run today, but whether it can really give an experience that stands out on the market as it is today, I'll have to talk about that a bit more in the full review and obviously compare it to the shoes around it in price and indeed those shoes that are a bit cheaper. But I think it is definitely a step up of what we've seen from Nike in this category. They haven't really had a lively, versatile daily trainer like this, I think, since the original Pegasus Turbo or maybe the Zoomfly 1 or 2. Those are pretty good shoes as well, but it definitely stands out in their current lineup, I would say, as a livelier, more exciting, faster, lighter option than the standard Pegasus 41, which is a bit more of a cushion cruiser for me. And while I still think their lineup could use a shoe that competes more with things like the Endorphin Speed and the Hoka Mach X2, this is a step in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to getting out in it again. That's our first look at the Nike Pegasus Plus. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, please do like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thanks again to Sports Shoes for sending out the sample. Look forward to getting out in the shoe again, and we'll be back with our full review in a few weeks.